Konnichiwa, and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy, episode 589. I'm not going to pretend to say all that in Japanese. My name is Ryan Higgins. Back in the USSR. Who's here with me this week? That's old folks music for all of you listening at home. Well, who's here with me this week?
I never go second, but I'll go second and say Kevin.
Okay.
Wayne.
Okay.
Toby.
Yeah, okay. Toby. So for some reason, Toby refused to acknowledge that his microphone has been working for the last 20 minutes. Otherwise, we would have started recording 20 minutes ago. He wanted to jump on and surprise us that his microphone was working, which is contrary to normal. Hello, everyone. Did you miss us? No. Did you miss me? No. I'm back. We're back. Comic Conspiracy's back. And nothing works. Twitter's dead. My RSS reader's dead. So all my topics I had saved to talk about tonight are inaccessible. Great. Wonderful. What the hell happened the last month and a half? I've been in Japan. I don't know what the hell's going on. Some submarine sank? Like, what else happened? Anything?
Oh, well, the store is still.
That's it? All right. I think. All right. All right. See you guys later. That's it. Wonderful podcast. Glad we got that out of the way. I believe
you still owe the listeners an in-depth review of The Flash, including spoilers.
Oh, boy.
Do you still remember it?
I don't remember anything. Okay, first, we did the 2 hour long. Usually it's the opposite, right? Usually on here, we talk about a movie for 2 hours, and then on the Geek Box, we talk about it for 10 minutes. And I say, if you want to hear the 2 hour version of the podcast, go listen to the Comic Conspiracy. Well, for this, I'll save you guys. And I'll say, if you want to hear the 2 hour conversation of my adventures in Japan, go listen to the most recent episode of the Geek Box, specifically because Adam and Justin, my other guys on there, they actually lived in Japan. So I had comparisons, and then actually I'll talk a little bit more. I know, Kevin, you have been there a few times, younger, and more
I was
recently.
Born there.
Yeah, but you were not, but you didn't like live there for an extended period as a conscious human.
In single-digit childhood.
Yeah.
So if you're counting like the kind of experience you had, no. I've only been back as an adult once. Yeah.
And Toby, I know you visited, so I definitely want to get your guys' takes on a few things here.
And spent some of my toddler years there as well, like Kevin.
Oh, did you really?
Oh.
Yeah. At one point, I was going to Japanese preschool or kindergarten, and also in Taiwan.
Oh. I thought you were just in like Germany and
No, I think they figured out I was not smart enough to be an Asian, so they decided to bring me to the white people.
Wonderful. But yeah, I took a very extended vacation with Leanne to Japan, a very delayed trip. We were supposed to go back in 2020. And Japan is awesome. Like, awesome. Not just, hey, the touristy spots in Tokyo, but just, we tried to go out into the, we went to the tourist place, and then we kept going, right? We tried to get out into the community and go out odd places and go not just the place on Yelp. We went left and went to other things. And, look, we did a lot of touristy stuff too, don't get me wrong, but we tried to travel as far out of the cities as we could on a regular basis. And, yeah, man, I think everyone should take a trip to Japan. Like, I've been to Europe. I liked Europe quite a bit, but Japan is, I knew all this, but actually being there and experiencing it is something quite amazing. And coming back to the US, man, it's difficult. It's difficult. Me and Leanne are definitely having some I don't know what do you call it? Just look, the grass is always greener, right? But boy, it's cool there. It's really cool. It's just the goddamn weather. I grew up in the East Coast. I've never felt humidity like this. It's other level.
I won in the summer.
Right, I'm sure. Right, I mean, look, I grew up in Massachusetts, spent time in Virginia and Florida and everything like that, all up and down the East Coast. Been back, been New York. Right, I mean, I've been through all that stuff in the humidity. It's hot, and it gets hot here. It gets in the hundreds here. 80 degrees with 95% humidity in Japan is the hottest thing I have ever been in my entire life. The most I have ever sweated just standing there, just drenched, just pouring down my face. Unbelievably hot. Like, if it wasn't for that, I'd be there tomorrow, or I would never have come back. I was just going to give Brock the keys. Sorry, Toby. I was going to give Brock the keys because he knows how to run Comic Cub, and I wasn't coming back. So yeah, the weather saved you guys from me and Leanne being on the run from the Tokyo police because we wouldn't leave their country.
We gave Brock the keys. I have to find myself a new shop to shop at.
Ryan, I'll tell you, I'm sure you experienced not only the things to see and do, but like the people and the culture is like, so Europe is like a fun kind of alternate Western culture, whereas Japan is like being in another world in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Oh, I guess, Lane, you said you've never been there?
Nope, never been there.
Of all of us, how have you never been there? I didn't know. I thought you've totally been there, like a bunch.
Nope.
Lane was the one harassing us for eating at McDonald's.
Go to Japan. It's awesome.
Oh, I plan to. I was supposed to go about 10 years ago, and then that got canceled last minute. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, dude. Like, do you have any like extended relatives out there or family? Or did you know?
Sort of. Yeah. My dad has some family there.
Okay. Yeah, I totally thought you would have been when you were younger, or you know, in your younger days or something. Yeah, I was really funny when you told me that.
Quite surprised by that as well.
Yeah. No, Kevin. Some people, they said, "Oh, well, you'll never be accepted." Right? Okay. Yeah. There's a quiet like barrier between foreigners and people actually, the actual Japanese people who live there, and I'm like, okay, sure, but I won't get shot in the street like I will here, right? So I don't I'll take the quiet resentment. Like I'm okay with that. That's fine. I don't care. It's better than here where people are screaming at me walking down the road, cars honking at me trying to drive me off the road and drive me off a fucking cliff or something.
Ryan, those are just the Marvel fans. Don't worry about them.
Yeah, no Marvel fans over there to have to worry
about.
Well,
I will tell you my last memory of Japan, as in the last time I was there, my closing memory before I got on the plane to come home was a security agent at the airport literally chasing me through a terminal, like running at top speed to catch me in a terminal, not because I did anything wrong, but because I left a penny in the security tray that you pass your medals through. I had left a penny by mistake, and it was a matter of like to make it right, that had to be returned to me. So somebody ran at top speed through the Kyoto airport to catch me, to give me a penny.
Leanne had almost the exact same experience. She left 1 yen in one of like the change return things at one of the stores we went to. And as we were walking down the street, the lady burst out of the store and gave her the 1 yen, right? Yeah, less than a penny.
Yeah.
And we were there too, right? It's like the yen is 70 cents to the 1,000 yen. So the prices of everything is like so ridiculously cheap. It's God, there's not great things about Japan too. I don't have to get into the entire history of modern day life in Japan. And there's many much smarter people than us that can tell you all the good and bad things about it. But just we were there as a tourist, but we were also there a little bit longer and again tried to get out of the city and not just hit the big spots. Like we really did try to get out, and it's very cool. Related to this podcast, things we did. I went to Disneyland, went to Tokyo Sea, went to Universal, Super Nintendo World, and all that stuff's really cool. We talked about a bunch on Geekbox. With the Studio Ghibli Museum, which is really awesome. Which
short film did you get to see?
So they had the Totoro sequel.
No, you motherfucker! Motherfucker! You got to see it.
Yeah, because it rotates between 5 or 6. Right? I think there's 5 or 6 movies.
Son of a B word.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the schedule is. I don't know how often it switches, but I did see the list of the different movies they had, and it was just like,
I've been
okay, we're there.
wanting to watch that so badly for like, I don't know, ever since I know of its existence. Holy shit!
Pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
I've been like searching bootlegs of it and everything. No, like there's like one screen grab on the internet that I found. That was.
Was it? Did someone actually they like GoPro'd it or something?
No, like a screen grab, like a photo of a shot, like of. So I know it exists.
Yeah,
because prior to that, I only heard rumors about it. I'm like, is this real? And then I found that one random like fake, not fake picture, but secret, because you're not allowed to take pictures in there. So I found like one photo that exists. I'm like, no, I need to see this thing. I want to see it so badly.
Yeah. No, we saw it. This
is about a little baby cat bus, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my god, you lucky! So it's really funny. When I was there the last time, I was there for work, and then I stayed like 10 days beyond that. And my buddy from LA went up. We kind of had the nightlife experience. But the one thing I did, I was like, at one point I realized, look, we're up every night till like 6, 7 in the morning, and then we sleep till noon, and then we start back up. I realized we're not going to get any touristy things in at all in. Like it was just like, yeah, that's gone out the window. We're doing all this crazy stuff. So I told him the one thing I need to do. The one thing is or two things. I want to go to Akihabara and go to all the nerd toy stores. And I want to do the Studio Ghibli Museum, right? So he goes, yeah, well, you organize, we'll go. And so I'm like, cool. So organize it. So I was talking to the hotel lady. I'm like, listen, I know how to get there. I realize there's a bus. Like, how do I know which one is the right bus? Then she goes, don't you worry, you will know when you get there. So I got to I took the GR train station, went there, got out of the train and literally waited, and up comes the super colorful, super decked out bus with all these characters. We go, okay, yeah, she was right. I knew exactly which bus to take.
Yeah, a bunch of the spots there. They have like the like the Totoro was on like the bus stops, and it was like 500 meters that way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we took one of the smaller trains because we went to the area, did other stuff there, and then we took one of the smaller stops and went over there. So it was.
I'm so jealous right now. I'm so jealous, Ryan. I was really happy for you to be back. Now I'm just really jealous.
Well, it's funny. You said, because it was so friggin' hot, we went back to the hotel midday. We just rested, took a shower, took a nap. It was we had to get out of that heat during the day. You could do a decent amount of stuff. All the shrines are open, the Tokyo Tower, all that type of stuff. You could see it all at night. And a lot of it's actually way cooler at night too, especially things like Akihabara and Shibuya Crossing and all that kind of bigger stuff that you want to do, want to go take a photo of or kind of see. Night is when it's actually kind of cooler, right? Because it's all lit up and especially things like Shibuya Crossing. And that is awesome at night because there's a million people there and just hanging out. It's party central. So that was really cool. And yeah, even that, the busiest, quote unquote, worst, dirtiest place we saw in Tokyo would be a clean San Francisco city, the equivalent of what is now a clean San Francisco city. So yeah, you could like eat off the seats on the buses and then the subway and everything is, yeah. I joked I now understand JRPG like fetch quests and all the quests that you get in Final Fantasy and stuff now, because it is completely like you ask someone a question and they're like, oh yeah, no, it's a 15-minute walk. I'll walk you right to the front door of the place. It's definitely a lot of people they like helping, which is cool. I don't know, maybe they feel pressured into helping and it's actually not cool. I don't know, but no one here would ever do that, so I'll take it. Yeah, we did, and I think when people, I'll give you guys the same. I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, Kevin, or you can bow out if you did, but there's a lot of nerdy stuff there, but it's not if you think oh, it's everywhere. No, the average person is not walking around in a Green Lantern t-shirt, right? Yeah, and even then, it's it's the stuff, but it's not the people. Like when we went into Mandarake, which is like one of the big nerd store chains, like the tourists were all wearing, Godzilla t-shirts. It wasn't anyone from Japan, right? They all look like normal humans. No one that walks into the comic store on a Wednesday is dressed like that in public anywhere, right? So it is, and I kind of get that, there's sort of this very uniform nature to literal uniform in some cases to the dress and the styles of the people there. And if you're if you are going to be a little off from the norm, I don't mean that in any derogatory way, but if you're a little left or right of center, you may have a harder time. But if you're if you can kind of fall into the society, it's really, I get it. I get that mentality of being like, oh, I am the weird one here. I should conform to this standard because it is a higher standard than what I have. I'm sitting here in my Flash t-shirt and cargo shorts, and everyone's dressed like, not just dressed for work, like even during the rest of the day, like people are dressed up all day, everywhere you go. So it's pretty cool. I could see falling into that. Leanne got a haircut when she was there. She's like, I love this haircut. I want this. Everyone here has the haircut I've wanted and didn't realize. And so, yeah, it's easy to go native. So, yeah, there was a lot of nerdy stuff around, and I was surprised at, more than manga, more than any American comic stuff or Western stuff. More than even Nintendo, the one thing I saw more than anything there. Give me a guess what nerdy / kid / cartoon type thing.
I have a guess.
Okay,
I'm going to say it's Snoopy.
It is 100% Peanuts and Snoopy. Everywhere. I had no idea. Like Doraemon, Toby, I would say is number 2. I know he's one of your favorites, right? Classic
it's only,
Japanese.
I think it's not the same as it was, like, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years ago.
He's still everywhere.
Yeah, but I think it's changed over the last 20 years or so, or 30 years.
Was that, Kevin, when you were there? You noticed the same thing with Peanuts?
There was also a lot of Mickey Mouse.
A decent amount of Disney, a lot of Mickey, but it was a lot of, I would say, more Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh, I think, was we saw a lot. I mean, look, we were at Disney, so obviously that's going to probably skew that a little bit, but just around a lot of the shops and malls and stuff. I saw as much.
Like Garfield was pretty big too, but I think Snoopy transcended it.
Now, I mean, yeah, I can't tell you what it was like before, but when we were there was Snoopy and Peanut. And it wasn't just Snoopy. I mean, it was a lot of Snoopy, but there was a lot of just general Peanuts merch. But shirts, bags, little stuff everywhere. That really surprised me. Nintendo, Pokemon, really, really high. Doraemon, classic anime. Like Dragon Ball, One Piece by far. Whatever the hot new manga and anime is, I didn't see anywhere compared to just One Piece in general, but way less of the actual print manga than I expected. You'd still see the manga magazines and some of the collections in like the 7-Elevens and the Family Marts and stuff. But I
gotta say, the Japanese probably took with the digital way. I mean, I could see them adopting that more so than we do. Yeah.
So, as I understand it, I mean, print manga is still pretty popular, but these things tend to happen in fads over there. Where here, we tend to be a little bit, and you could tell the fad nature just by the way Japan loves its pop-ups. Every store has a new thing that it's announcing for that month or that week. Every shop we went into, there was some limited thing. Like it's very fad heavy. It's very the thing of the minute. Things don't stick around, right? It seems like, despite how old some of the stuff is, the kind of culture inside of it switches very quickly. When we were in Osaka, they had there was a Blackpink. It's one of these like girl groups. They had like a tour, and I think like every person on the street had been to that show because they were all wearing Blackpink stuff, and then like a day later, it was all gone. It was like it never happened.
There was that line of women that were just there for that ugly shirt.
Yeah. There was like some pop up, some hideous looking like, whatever. There was some shirt. I looked it up to see what this line was for, and there was some shirt they were trying to buy, and yeah, it was there for like the one day or whatever. So that seems to be real popular. Whatever like the real popular manga or anime at the time was, like One Piece was everywhere, but it wasn't like the books, right? It was the merch. It's more so than even here. Sure, we get Target and Funko Pops and stuff like that, but there'd be just stuff in random shops everywhere. So it definitely seemed like the print books were not as big, but as I understand it, the acceptance for the digital manga was even slower to start. But once it hit, it was like immediate, overnight. Like everyone switched to digital. Because I saw
when I was there, the cell phone comics were a big thing. You know, the ones where you just kind of slide up.
Yeah. So manga is
whatever you call them. Yeah, it was huge. Everybody on the train was like on their cell. Like talking about the older style cell phones too, and they were just like reading off of that or swiping off of that.
Yeah. So the most of what I saw was manga, the full page scrolling right to left, or scrolling left to. I guess it's backwards to us, so you're not scrolling right to left, just going left to right because you're going back. It was the full page manga, which translates well to the phone. It's a bit small, but it does translate well to the phone. But I did see some people reading webtoons, and webtoons is there's the official webtoons, and then webtoon, and then there is the general phrase webtoons, which is all vertical scrolling comics. Mostly, I think it's mostly Korean. I think webtoons is Korean. I saw a little bit of that, but just from what I saw on the trains and from people around, way more the traditional. But it was, the people that had the print books were mostly children.
Yeah.
And that's probably, we'll buy you the print book. And then the adults on the train during commuter hours and at night and stuff was mostly on the phone. I saw a couple adults reading like print manga, but very few, like maybe one or two the whole time we were there. We're on the phone was dozens, right? Dozens. But yeah, it's we did not have the train. We did not have the conductors coming out and shoving people into the cars. It wasn't quite that bad. I'm sure there's still some work from home and maybe a little bit different. But yeah, that very busy commuter morning train in Tokyo, silent, just silent. I love it. Oh, it's so good. Oh man. Yeah, that was fun. It's a cool experience. Yeah, but there is still a lot of like nerdy stuff in Japan. But like I said, it doesn't feel like it takes over the way. And of course, I'm at the store and everything like that. So blah blah blah. Obviously, that's different. But just people walking down the street aren't walking around in graffiti design T-shirts. It's just not like that there. So it's when they are right, it's they work hard, they party hard. So like we went to when we saw people dressed up, they were dressed up to the nines, right? We went to a Yamato Giants game, the Tokyo baseball team, and people there are like all in head to toe sports gear, right? So it's like almost cosplay level for some people. So not everyone, but a lot of them. So it's they're not walking around the streets like that though before the game or after the game. It's really we do this thing at the place. So I'm sure at the conventions it's probably people get real dressed up, but their day-to-day work they're not dressing like that. Where here they do, right? You will see people like you're walking around in whatever the comic shirt is. You've got I've got my Boba Fett jacket from Star Wars, the Marvel part, the Star Wars park at Disney, things like that, right? That's just nothing like that. Even when we went to Akihabara in the more kind of nerdy areas, Pokemon Center, the Gundam stores, all that stuff. Also, the Gundam statue is the greatest thing in the entire world, and fuck America. Like, we need 20 of those things here. I need my full life-size Gundam statues. Just every country needs, every state needs a couple.
Did you go see the big one?
Needs a Gundam one. We saw one, and we got close to another one, but the actual area was closed. So the Gundam factory we couldn't go to. That has like the more classic one, but we got to see the Gundam Unicorn, which is at one of the malls, and that is amazing. Amazing. Is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It's huge. It's like 60 feet tall, and it does its transformation like once an hour or something. It's the coolest thing in the world. That's so. And then there was people there. I mean, we got there. There were tons of people around taking pictures. We left a couple hours later after going through the whole mall. Tons of people taking pictures.
It wasn't just tourists too. There was like school kids.
Yeah, it wasn't just tourists. It was like locals and tour, like school tours and all sorts of stuff going on there. Like, there were people everywhere. Like, that was awesome. So, man, America, come on. No more people, more giant robots. Let's do it. Come on, we could do this. Act as defense for the cities and stuff like that. So, it's the coolest thing in the world. It's so neat. Unknown to us, the one of the new Sailor Moon movies was opening when we were there. It was one of our first nights in Tokyo. So me and Leanne went and saw a new Sailor Moon movie. And I've seen the show, and she loves it. She's seen the show 100 times. So, we could pick it up, even though it's not subtitled. Or Kyoto, sorry. No, was that Kyoto? I thought that was Tokyo. Oh, it's across from the thing. Yeah, sorry. That was in Kyoto. But yeah, again, Sailor Moon movie. And yes, obviously, there was a lot of women there. But still, silent. No cell phones. No one got up to use the bathroom. No one said a word through the whole movie. The movie ends. Everyone picks up all their food. They dispose of it properly. There's no trash on the floor. We could talk about Spider-Verse a little bit later. We went and saw Spider-Verse the other day. And we leave, and there's just like an entire bucket of popcorn just dropped on the ground and like 2 seats ahead of us. And it's like, not in Japan. I'm going to be one of those guys. I'm going to look at stuff and just shake my head and be like, this wouldn't happen in Japan.
Well, so basically it's you, but just adding, this wouldn't happen in Japan.
Yes. And now I have proof that we're wrong here because it's right there. So, like, I've always hated this, but now I can look and go, the Japanese, they wouldn't do this, right? So it's not just me anymore. I was meant to be there. I'm actually Japanese inside, right? So, yeah. I found my people. It's cool. Kevin, you going back? You've talked about it.
Yeah. As I think I said on this show before we signed off when you left, I told the concierge at the hotel last time I was there that I would see him the next year. And that was 10 years ago. So,
Kevin, the Japanese are very honorable people, so he's holding you to it. And he's like, where the fuck is that Kevin?
Yeah, right. I know.
He said he's going to be back here 10 years ago.
And the thing about Japan, that guy still works there. Yeah. He's still there, right?
Well, Toby, step one for me getting back to Japan is stop buying original art.
So you're never going back. That's
no. The madness.
You're out. Now you're out.
The madness is going to end. Yes, I'm definitely going back. Let me put it like this: I will be back in the 2020s. I just can't narrow it down further than that.
I will probably also be back in the 2020s.
Let's line it up the next time, and we can shake our heads together.
And then we'll have Lane. Lane can make his final trip. We'll do the comic conspiracy.
Final trip
goes to Japan. Or you'll finally do your trip. Sorry, that came out wrong.
Ryan, you and I will be like Statler and Waldorf over there.
I was gonna say, Ryan, did you know something about Lane that we don't? It's a little dark there, man.
You'll finally be there. And see, like, I think me, Kevin, and Lane will be good. Toby, I don't think Japan will like you though. You're too much, man. You're too.
I mean,
no, he fits into the nightlife.
Oh, dude. I had a glass of it like
maybe they're going to be silent. They're going to be silently judging you because you're going to be boisterous and loud and making noise. And
dude, Ryan. There's something you don't know about me, man. I'm a chameleon, man. I just fit in.
Okay.
I just
Okay,
did.
okay.
There's a reason why I went there, and all of a sudden I was with the locals till like 5, 6 in the morning. Sure, the bar guy at 6 in the morning was judging me because I was talking to one of the Japanese girls. He was definitely judging me. I could tell by the looks he was giving me. But beyond that, people generally like me.
Nice. No, at night the pressure of the day gets expelled, and then they're pretty lively at night. So yeah,
dude, the nightlife is awesome, man. I went to underground parties. I went to Fuji Rocks, which is completely insane. I went to Harajuku jean store openings. That was insane. I went to, dude, so many things happened. Complete insanity. I ended up at some like trance concert at some point, like trance music concert. Like, yeah, half the stuff that happened, I don't know how it happened. It just went from one thing to another. Like, yeah.
Well, it is like, imagine if like every city was like New York, where you're like, oh yeah, there's just a million things everywhere you go, right? Like, I'm not saying you could do that in San Jose. You can't do that in San Francisco, right? It's just not like that. They do such a good job of dividing the like living areas and the work areas and the downtown districts, and like everything sort of, we were more on the east side when we were in Tokyo, and so on the weekends and at night it was quiet because it was like the corporate district, right? So during the day it was jamming, but at night it was real quiet. But it's like everyone shifts to the other areas. Like I don't know that you really do that in a lot of cities here. Like, you're not just going from place to place to place. You could spend any one of those major streets. You could spend a month there and not go into every store and every building, right? Like, it's just, and the food, it's like,
if you don't like the food is excellent. All you need is 7-Eleven and you're good.
I was gonna say, yeah, the 7-Eleven egg salad sandwiches beat 80% of the restaurants in America.
Dude,
so.
That's what I was living on. I would drink all night till like 6 in the morning, sleep till like noon, go to 7-Eleven, have myself a egg cheese sandwich, and then start drinking again. That's all I did. That's literally, the diet. It was 7-Eleven sandwich. Maybe occasionally some random ramen spot, but other than that, it was beer and alcohol. That was it.
Sounds healthy.
Oh, it's very healthy if you just keep on drinking.
For us, it was endless souffles and souffle pancakes and ice cream, and I still managed to and I somehow managed to lose 10 pounds. So I sweat out 44 years of pizzas and Starbucks.
What?
So
I could swear you had a pizza every day from your pictures.
So me and Leanne are pescatarian. We will eat fish, but there is surprisingly less fish than I would have expected.
You have to go to like the like towards the ocean sides, right?
Yeah. There was everything was meat, and there might be some fish, and there might be some vegetarian, and there was almost no vegan. You had to go to like a very special place for that. So like we ate fine, but there were points where we're like, yeah, pizza sounds good tonight again. They do pizza better than we do too. Oh, their pizza's fucking delicious. They were great. All food was good. But if food's bad, it's not going to last because there's a place around, above you, below you, to the left, to the right, behind you. There's another restaurant inside that restaurant. So like, if you don't like the food, just take a step and you'll have 12 other places to choose. So, it's so much cool stuff. We got like some of the Totoro buns. We went to one of the. All right, no,
did you go to that sister's
puffs
place?
Yeah,
isn't it like Miyazaki's like sisters or something, or a relative?
Like his sister-in-law or something.
Like his sister-in-law.
Yeah. So
one
of them
was allowed to do it, right? Yeah.
There was two of them. We went to one and they were actually sold out. They sell out like early in the day. So then we went to the other one. And we went there and there was a lot of people there. So, there's quite a bit of people getting those little Totoro. But Leanne, if anyone needs a Google Doc of every place that sells sweets in Japan, Leanne has made a Google Maps. So we can send that out.
Did you go to the actual Studio Ghibli thing? Isn't that near the Bun place? Isn't that near the actual Studio Ghibli place?
I don't know.
Like not the
We didn't go to
museum, but like the actual where they work.
Yeah, I don't know. We didn't know. We just went. I did go to Nintendo. I went to Nintendo headquarters in Osaka, so that was cool. Could stand outside, security guard looking at me, and there was another guy there taking pictures too. So it's like we're not the only people there. Uh, some American comic stuff there. Flash was opening while we were there. Spider-Verse. I saw some posters for that. I don't know how well they fared, but we saw those
Did you bring
there. I got some
Japanese movie posters.
I got some one sheets. Yeah, I got some I got some of those like small one sheets from.
Did you bring some extras for the other people? Do you know?
I got some Flash and Spider-Verse one sheets if you want one.
Yes. Their posters are even better than ours.
Oh yeah. You know, there's some American comic stuff there. I'd say very little DC. We saw some. I picked up a Japanese copy of Doomsday Clock in one of the shops. They had a section of all the American comics, and I'm like, Japanese version of a Jeff Johns comic. That'll be my one purchase of American comic stuff here. But I'd say, yeah, comics was maybe split 50-50. If you saw some, you saw a mix of both. Like nothing from Image, no Walking Dead, no Saga, nothing like that. I just zero as far as I could tell. But some Marvel and DC stuff. Not a lot, but certain stores would have a small section of it. Uniqlo would have like the Marvel shirts, and we'd see the Marvel merch in a few more places.
Time out. Uniqlo had the Marvel shirts, so while they have the manga shirts here, they have Marvel shirts over there.
They have this. It's kind of the same stuff in both places. The stuff you could get here, yeah, it's a lot of the same stuff. Okay. Yeah.
I was like amused by it. It'd be funny if they have Marvel stuff over here, but manga stuff over here.
Well, so again, they do it so much better in Japan. How it works is that every train station is also the best mall that's ever existed. And they'd be like, oh, cool. Every train station has an entire floor of suites, just as far as the eye can see. And then you're like, oh, here's every major chain, fashion store. And every mall is 7 stories tall. And there's a million shops in every store and restaurants and food and all this stuff. And so you just go from like train station to train station. And you're like, oh, I'm in another mall. Oh, I'm in another mall. And you just shop like all day. Like people just shop constantly. Like it never ends. There's people out shopping everywhere all the time. Every place you go, because that's how every train station is set up everywhere. So we ended up in all sorts of, little boutique shops to major chains. We did all the Pokemon stores and, like I said, a bunch of those like Jump, the magazine, right? The manga magazine, Jump, and One Piece shops and Gundam stores. And they're there. There's a handful of that stuff everywhere. Did all the Nintendo shops. But yeah, just you'd go into whatever the random Uniqlo or any of that stuff. And yeah, there'd be you saw some Marvel stuff, not a lot. Kind of out in the wild. Like there'd be a little bit of it in like the nerd stores. It wasn't until almost our last day there that I saw more than one Funko Pop. We saw one, and they're all American. They don't make them there apparently. And it was in one of the I think it's Mandarake. I've heard it pronounced Mandrake. I've heard it pronounced Mandarake. I don't know how you're actually supposed to pronounce it.
I've always heard Mandarake.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's what I think. That's how I think you're supposed to say it. Mandrake's like the Americans' pronunciation. I don't know. But we saw like one when I was there, and I was like, that's the first Funko Pop I've seen this entire time. And with all the little stuff they have there, you almost think Funko Pops would be more popular because it does sort of
truth comes out at this point. That's why you loved it there so much. You're like, there's only this many Funko Pops.
What was that, Lane?
They know what's cute.
Oh.
Funko Pops are not cute.
They know what's cute, and Funko Pops are not cute, according to Leanne. So, because there's so much little stuff, right? They don't tend to have big giant, like there's like Hot Toys and all that type of stuff, but they don't really do that. All the merch is this tiny little stuff. So when they're, Funko almost feels like it would fit there, but there was nothing. And it wasn't until like one of the last days we actually did see a bunch of them. But again, it was in one of the Mandarakes where they had a ton of this used stuff. So Star Wars, that by far nothing. Star Wars is not a thing in Star Wars in Japan. Nobody cares about Star Wars. I didn't see anything anywhere. Like, again, a couple of figures at one of the shops in the used section, and that was it. Like, it's just not a thing anyone cares about.
Well, I kind of it doesn't surprise me, because if you think about it, it was impressive to us, but to them, they were like, "Yeah, we've seen this. Like, what's so special about this?"
Yeah. There was Disney Plus stuff, right? There was advertisements for Disney Plus. I don't even think Star Wars was in the advertisements for it, though. I think it was like the Disney films. Maybe Avatar. Like, I didn't see there's no Star Wars stuff or Marvel stuff in Disneyland, or no. Any Marvel or Star Wars in Disneyland? No, nothing. Zero. No, I don't remember.
They might not be allowed to.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing anything, even in like the Disney shops outside. Yeah, it could be a licensing thing. Oh, because Spider-Man was in Universal, so maybe it is still licensed outside those parks there. They still have like an old Spider-Man shop and attraction at Universal. So yeah, maybe it is still like the Florida parks, where I know some of the Marvel stuff might still be Universal. And not in the Disney parts. But yeah, it's pretty surprising. I thought I'd see more of the Marvel stuff there. People wearing shirts at Disney, but they think they were all tourists. I think they were all foreigners. It wasn't locals wearing the Marvel stuff. And that's another place too, right, where people get dressed up. I mean, everyone gets dressed to they're in, it's beyond bounding like they do here. They're in full on head to toe Disney stuff when they go, and they go in like little pairs. So they all dress the same, little groups, boyfriend, girlfriends, or groups of all girls. They all dress the same. They all like the same type of stuff, very matching, very matchy. Yeah, they don't fuck around. They go all out. Yeah, that's the more nerdier parts of Japan.
So that's why you like Japan too, huh? Less Marvel fans?
Less Marvel fans, less Funko Pops. It sounds great to me. Love it. Yeah. What you guys, Toby, you said you had like a million things you wanted to talk about. What did you guys do while I was gone? Anything?
Well, we didn't.
We could talk Spider-Verse, or we could talk Spider-Verse or more Flash at the end of the podcast. I'm cool with that.
I haven't watched Spider-Verse yet. I'm actually still scared to watch that one. So I'm waiting on that one a little bit still.
Okay, we'll get into that a little bit after, so we can. Well, I guess we won't spoil stuff, but I guess we could do a little non-spoiler Spider-Verse talk. Yeah, I mean, look, stuff happened. It's old news at this point.
Well, we
have
a Superman and a Lois Lane now.
Yeah, yep. Superman cast, stuff like that. Like
Superman that oddly looks like a younger Henry Cavill, which I thought was a little amusing.
Yeah, the humans with skin. Leanne watched Miss Maisel. I haven't seen it, but I watched it over her shoulder. Seems like a cool Lois. Once you start seeing stuff in costume and promos, then I care about that more. Like my friend Jeff decades ago at this point said, "Yeah, they're humans with skin. They'll do great." And that line, it's always stuck with me. And I've always said it. It's like, yeah, they're humans with skin. They'll be fine. We'll figure it out. I don't know who anyone is until they're a superhero. So we'll see how these guys are. I don't need to bring it up in extended conversation, but one of the things I was following when I was over there, kind of at night and in the morning while I was getting ready, was the whole Comics That Broke Me stuff that was on Twitter before Twitter died. Did you guys, Kevin? Did you follow any of that? Lane and Toby, did you read up on any of this stuff?
Yeah, a little bit.
My kind of one tweet that I felt best shared my opinion on this is I 100% agree and understand everyone's idea. Oh, for what people, if they don't know, I don't know the animator that died. I didn't recognize his name. He seemed like he was really famous, but it was not someone I knew. But maybe it was in animation and not in comics, so just not someone I'd follow. But an animator and someone who has done some comic work passed away. Sorry, I just don't have him in front of me here. I'd grab his name. And that led to a conversation of, overwork in the industry and all these people that have been vastly underpaid and undervalued in the comic industry. And my heart goes out to all these people that couldn't make it and had to quit and, got screwed over by terrible companies and did all this bad stuff, but my one kind of, comment that got a lot of traction was, for the people that have made it in the comic industry, they're obviously not going to have these same complaints because they made it. Right. And and this is not a judgment on the quality of the book or the quality of the people. It's just the simple math that if your comic that's $3.99 sells 2,000 copies, there's just not money in it for anyone, especially if you're part of a company like Image or, something like that, where it's not self-published and you do 100% of the work. There's more money in comics and you can make an actual living on it if you sell more copies or the comics are more expensive. Those are really the two things that have to change, right? If you sell more copies, cool. If they're more expensive, okay, then you don't have to sell as many. And this is why I think Kickstarter and crowdfunding has been so popular, because people can do all the work and get all the money, but they're also doing all the work. As Kevin and me know, putting out a comic book is a fucking lot of work. Meanwhile, is on its way too. A proof is on its way to me, so we should have copies. Still aiming for end of July, early August. That's still the plan. But the proof is on its way, so we should have a nice copy to show off soon. But yeah, I 100% feel for all these people. It's tough. I think of it like professional sports, right? How many people make it? How many people make it to the MLB or NBA, right? Like, how many people flame out in college and high school? And
all right, you don't have to fucking remind me of my failed college career that never happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. But again, I'm not saying like, oh, these people are just whining and complaining. No. If you've actively done a ton of work and got screwed over by a company, if you got way underpaid, if you got an advance and that was all you got, and then the book didn't sell enough. That sucks. Like, that really sucks. I feel for all these people, but the only way this changes is if comics suddenly start selling significantly better, or you're charging $20 for a single issue, right? And that's how you make more money in comics. So, with streaming seemingly approaching its death, and or at least the model we know approaching its death, I'm sure, and with the writer's strike, I'm sure now 100% of comics being used to pitch movies and TV shows is gone, right? So any company like Aftershock that was, and there's others that's kind of their model. Oh yeah, we just, the comics don't have to sell because we just license them out for movies and TV shows, and that's where we make our money. That's over, right? So don't look for this to get better in the short term. It's just going to get significantly worse. IDW, Oni, Boom, Aftershock, all the mid-level guys, they're going to be hurting in the next couple of years. Anyone that's starting up. Distillery, I don't know. Hopefully it does well. If they got the right people. But if that's a kind of an unannounced plan on the back end, that's not great. Image is not what it was 5 or 10 years ago, right? They don't have the hits. What's turned into a movie? Walking Dead. All right. What's turned into a movie or show? Walking Dead. Paper Girls, canceled after one season. What else?
Invincible.
Invincible. Yeah. Okay. So Robert Kirkman.
Yeah.
Robert Kirkman has hits. The end. Brian K. Vaughan doesn't. They've all failed. Why failed? Paper Girls failed. Those aren't profitable. So this isn't the comics have to be the product. The comics have to be the thing. If more happens, cool. But that can't be the comics have to be your company.
Yeah. But I think the big problem though is that you have to be able to sell every single comic for this to really work, right? Because like you have to appeal to everyone to buy your comic. It's not just you just did your product and you expect money. Like it has to sell.
Yeah, right. And that's what I mean. and if you're a small press indie guy and you sell a couple thousand copies, that's successful, right? But it might not be financially successful.
Wait.
Right.
Go back to your Brian K. Vaughan example. I'm a little lost in that one because to me, Brian K. Vaughan, his product is the comic. I never thought of him as a guy that's writing to be TV show down the line. I mean, I feel like why it got turned into a TV show. Sure, it was talked about for many years, right? But I feel like Y is an awesome comic book, and I think that's what it is. And sure, they had a TV show that they tried and didn't do well, and his other stuff didn't do well either. But
no, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. If Brian K. Vaughan can't do it, what chance does anyone else have?
Okay. So, all right, sorry, because you were going, you mentioned Brian K. Vaughan right after Kirkman. I'm like, just because Brian K. Vaughan didn't make it, but I feel like his comics were meant to be comics first. And sure,
I am 100% positive that Walking Dead and Invincible were comic books first and foremost, and anything else was not on Kirkman's mind. Why Runaways, Ex Machina, Saga, Paper Girls? I don't get the feeling that Brian K. Vaughan did any of that thinking, we're going to make this into a movie. Yeah. I'm sure in the back of everyone's head, okay, well, whatever. But, Kirkman, for sure, with Walking Dead, there's not a chance in hell. And it becomes a successful show and movie or whatever because the source material is so strong and gets a fan base. If just pitching a 5-issue miniseries, it's going to get licensed and turn into a movie. No, it's not. No. Less than a fraction of 1/10 of 1% of the time it does.
Well,
it's almost never.
On Kirkman is I feel like the comic book fans or comic book fans, like I bet you there's not a lot of crowd. Like there is. Like I was genuinely a fan of the Walking Dead comic, and then I was a genuine fan of Walking Dead the TV show, right? But to me, they're almost in ways two different entities, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, sure.
And I feel like the people that are fans of the show are not necessarily fan of the comic, and I think the people that are fan of the comic are not necessarily fans of the show either. Like I feel like I'm in the weird middle where I like both, but I think a lot of the TV show people that watch the TV show and are fan of the TV show, I bet you the percentage of them actually reading the Kirkman comic, it's maybe like 10 to 20% at most. I mean, this is numbers out of my ass, by the way. I don't have any facts. This is just.
I think the amount of people that watch the Walking Dead show that read a comic is a fraction of 1%.
All right, cool. Right? So I was way over. Yeah.
It's still very successful, but you have to think about how many people watch Walking Dead. Millions and millions and millions. And how many copies of Walking Dead #1 sold? Or, the first graphic novel sold? I mean, maybe it sold a couple million, maybe, but the crossover is limited. But Walking Dead was a huge hit when it was in its prime.
Yeah,
the show caused the book to sell, for sure.
And I think in the same way in reverse, right? We all know. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I think the people are fans of the cartoon, and even though like there's comics that are like going after the cartoon, I don't think there's that many that crossed over. Like that went from cartoon watching to pick up the comic. It's two different set of people. I feel like.
Well, and this is what I've said about the MCU and everything, right? If 1% of people that watched a Marvel movie picked up the comic, the industry would be transformed overnight. Because that is a staggering amount more people watch the movies and shows than read the comics. I don't mean ever, right? But I mean, if suddenly 1% of everyone that went to see Avengers Endgame walked into a comic store the next day, it would be the busiest day in every single comic book store in the history of their business.
I mean,
right?
I feel like, we are all kind of a special case, right? Because we're all comic book fans first. Like, there's so many people that are straight up just MCU fans that never read.
Yeah, of course. And I think, name me a movie or TV show where there was a 5-issue miniseries that became, I don't even need a mega franchise. I mean, something even mid-tier.
Right, what's your favorite writer?
Right. Wanted?
No, I can tell you one better.
And anything from him.
I can tell you one better that went to be a worldwide phenomenon.
Cowboy vs. Aliens?
Nope.
Well, you know the story with that.
Nope. Oh, well, go ahead.
What? Yeah, no, right. Wanted and Kingsman, right? Oh well, Kingsman over Wanted.
Umbrella.
Well, I was
Umbrella
going
Academy,
to say Ninja Turtles.
but see, but that was not their day one. That's what I mean. Ninja Turtles was not a 5-issue miniseries that had nothing else. That's what I'm talking. A 5-issue miniseries produced specifically to be a pitch for a movie or TV show.
I mean, Ninja Turtles started as a joke, as one issue,
right?
And then they expanded to like 4 or 5 issues. They stopped again and realized they can continue. So they didn't mean for it to be a hit. It was a joke.
Turtles, Scott Pilgrim. Look, ignore Marvel and DC.
Yeah,
Turtles, Scott Pilgrim. I'll put Watchmen in that list. It's DC, but it's not. Walking Dead, Invincible,
Hellboy.
Hellboy, 30 Days of Night. Whiteout.
That was a thing for a minute, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that's what I mean, right? 30 Days of Night had 2 movies. Whiteout had a movie. I mean, it didn't do anything, but that was not a But what has actually been made, right?
Yeah.
What was like? This is clearly even Wanted and Kingsman. I mean, Miller pitched Wanted immediately, and that might be the first real case of it happening.
Yeah, but they're different. They're not. Wanted the movie is not Wanted the comic, and neither is...
No, neither is Kingsman.
Kingsman I can't say because I didn't read the comic, but I remember, because I actually liked the Wanted comic, and I was excited to watch the movie, and to me, they're completely different things.
But at the end of the day, this is the nicest you'll ever hear me say about about Mark Miller, especially considering the bullshit he posted over the last few days as well. He was a comic guy first, and he went through the system and had a pedigree, right? So at the end of the day, he was a known quantity that wanted to break out and do his own thing, and I'm okay with that, right? Like I don't like it, I don't like him, but he did it the correct way. There's nothing. It just doesn't happen. Cowboys and Aliens was a case where the guy pitched for this movie forever and no one did it. So he made a comic to then pitch as the movie. And that's the only reason they took it, right? So I guess that's the example, and fucking nobody cares, right?
Was it any good?
It bombed. No. I'd never read it and never read the comic. It's bullshit. No, fuck that guy.
No, he fudged the numbers just to get it in the hands of the film producers.
Yeah, he bought his own copies to say it was a bestseller, and then So if that's the one time it's worked, right? Like every now, I guess, God, Warrior Nun, Ariel, like that. I think that's based on the comic, right? The Warrior Nun Netflix thing, right?
And anything to do with it, though.
No, but that's been a comic forever.
Kingsman is probably the closest because Matthew Vaughn actually had a hand in making the comic.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of even other little stuff. Resident Alien. I mean, that was just a comic. I don't feel like that was something that we're gonna make this a show. I really. Snowpiercer? No. I'm really struggling to come up with anything real. This was clearly pitched as a movie, other than Cowboys vs. Aliens. That's it, right? And I just think people can smell this, right? I think the average fan looks at it and goes, "This is worthless. I don't care about this," and so it doesn't become a hit. The comic nobody cares about. It dies after 5 issues. And if nobody cares about the comic, nobody's going to care about a movie or TV show of it, too, right? If someone listening knows examples of when this worked well, I really can't think of any. So yeah, I think that model is dead. And if that is what your company was based on, especially if you're paying
it's funny that you mentioned Mark Miller, because I feel like he might also be, not only is he the one that kind of exploited this way, but I feel like he's also the start of this way, right? Because the Avengers is kind of a take on the Ultimates, and I feel like a lot of that stuff started from there, which is also a Mark Miller comic.
Yeah, of course. No. Him and Warren Ellis created the cinematic comic, right? With Brian Hitch, with the wide panels. That's just everything now. But if you go back to the late 90s, early 2000s, that's him and Warren Ellis, and they knew, right? They had their fingers were on the pulse of that. I'll give them all the credit in the world. They knew exactly what they were doing. And it worked really well for a while. Miller's success, Chosen, we'll see. Jupiter's Legacy is one of the biggest bombs in television history. So I'm surprised he got a second chance after that. But what are you going to do?
Well, his contract's still for another year, I think.
Yeah, and then, man, more power to the artists that are getting that Netflix money. Get it while you can, because that Netflix money is going away pretty soon. Like, you're not getting shit. Make your millions while Miller's got your contract up. But yeah, now if that's, and this affects speculators that come in and pick up all of these comics because of the licensing deals and all that shit. That's done, right? So yeah, if you're getting paid $20 to color a page, I mean,
but I mean, let's go back.
I don't have an answer. There's no way. I don't know what the answer is. The answer is
let's step back just a little bit, right? I mean, was the story because of this, or this is just one aspect of it? I mean, was the story just in general like there's people that are underpaid in the industry, or was it actual that's what they were doing, that's what they're all doing so bad, and that's why they're underpaying some people? I thought, and I look, and I only skimmed through the stories, right? But I thought it was genuine that there's companies that are paying too little. Now,
so it's a combination of everything, right?
Sure.
So Ian McGinty, I looked up the guy's name, right? He was an animator, but he worked in comics. The pressure of these industries and not really making a lot of money on it is believed to be partially around the reasoning for his death, right? Through stress and everything else, right? I don't know the whole story. I don't know how much has really fully come out about all this. So this started because people responded to him and said, because of the not the bad working conditions, but the bad payment and having to go from project to project and never know where your next paycheck is going to come from, and big companies getting paid peanuts, or big companies paying creators peanuts for things that then become mega franchises. People, this started to come out that people were saying, I tried to work in comics. I did art for a book that became a multi-billion-dollar movie, and I've never seen a penny in royalties. I spent 2 years making a graphic novel. My advance was $9,000, and I never made a penny past my advance because it didn't sell well enough. And all these things, I'm like, well, again, I feel for all those people, but there is also just the way the industry works is that there's money in it.
That story sucks, and when you put that much work into art, and that didn't sell, but it didn't sell, right? You can't really blame people for it, though.
And that's sort of my feeling is that you either sell more or you make them more expensive. Those are the only ways people are going to make more. The company needs to get paid, right?
Or the product just wasn't. I mean, look, I don't want to say this, but or the product just wasn't good enough.
Well, and that's what I mean. 99% of people are going to fail out of any industry. That's just an industry like this where the 1% are gonna be the ones that are successful. You can't make every movie into a MCU franchise. Not everything is Star Wars. As there's a billion science fiction stuff out there, and one Star Wars and one Star Trek. Yeah. And again, the worst of it is I signed contracts and these people effed me out of money and they intentionally did not pay me and ran away. Okay, that is illegal and inexcusable and 100% not your fault. I totally get that. That's bad. That's the worst. And those people should be outed and blacklisted from the industry, and you shouldn't buy their products and blah blah blah. So there's no argument with that.
I mean, it's really tough, right? Like, what's the gentleman that directed the Hellboy movies? Guillermo, how do you say his name?
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro.
I would just recently watch an interview of him, and he says he pitches stuff to the movie studios all the time, and they turn him down. And that's him.
Yeah,
that's him. That's a dude that made the studios some money, successful money, right? And he still gets turned down.
Del Toro's a name, but he's not really success. It's not successful in the way. If your movie has to break $1 billion, he's not your guy.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
I mean, but he makes weird cult art movies.
Yeah,
I feel right?
And that's why, if you can, if you're doing an independent comic and you can write, draw, or you have an artist and you split it, edit, do all the work that goes into that, and then you put the comic out yourself, you ship it yourself, you put it on Kickstarter, yeah, you could probably do okay. You put out a book a month, yeah, you could, but a book a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not one graphic novel every 5 years.
Yeah.
You're not going to make any money on
Isn't
that,
that
right?
what the Coffin dude is doing? Brian Pulido?
Oh, and then that dude is on Kickstarter. That dude hustles like mad. And yeah, these guys that have successful on Kickstarter, it's multiple projects a month or a project a month.
I mean, he sounds like
and you could do it.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but he sounds like a used car salesman at this point. But you got to give him the credit of doing the damn work. Like,
dude, the hustle is unbelievable. Yeah, right?
No. Hats off to that guy, man. Because I was like, holy shit, man! And it was really funny because every comic is a number 1, but it was another chapter in the story. So I was like, wait, that really is a number 5, but he's selling it as a number 1. He's selling like 12 damn freaking covers. And
he found his audience, and you can 100% make that work, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're going in, I did the math. I put the math on this on Twitter. I mean, I'll spitball it here for a second, right? If you get a $4 comic, that's 50% discount to stores, so that's $2. Even let's say you're self-published, so that's $2 coming back to you. Minus printing fees is about 10 to 20%. Let's call it 10% just to be on this, just be on the really low side. Let's say 10% of that. So that's another 40 cents, right? So you're down to $1.60. Distributor takes 5%. Again, low number, but let's take it. So you're down. What's that? That'd be 40. So that'd be 20. So you're down to $1. You're down to $1.40 a copy that you're making profit. Shipping, let's take it down to $1.20 a profit. And now let's just say it's you and the artist. So you're getting 60 cents in a copy sold on a $4 comic, right? That goes to comic stores. 60 cents. How many copies do you need to sell a month to make a living off that, right?
Less.
All right. So you put that on Kickstarter, you sell it for $10 a book with some variant covers. It still only costs you 40 or 60 cents to print that book, right? You have this limited number. Kickstarter model is correct for these people. It's high price, low quantity, and there's now suddenly you sell 1,000 copies and you're making $9 a copy or $8 a copy. Okay, I just made $8,000 this month. That's okay.
Not right? The convention that guy is doing.
Yeah, so like, and conventions is a hustle like that. How many people go to conventions and lose money or break even? Most, right?
Yeah,
it's fucking tough. And if your book is optioned by Penguin Random House, who's got to pay everyone and now all these massive salaries, and then you get your percent on top of that, and it sells a couple thousand copies and that's it. Oh, there's just no money in it, right? Because you got to do all the production work, you got all the layout, the design, the inking, coloring, editing. There's so much work that goes into this. There's so many people that and at the end of the day, for a $4 comic. So you have stuff like Pokemon cards. My example was, look at Pokemon. Pokemon's like $4 or $5 a pack, but they sell in the literal hundreds of millions, if not billions, a year, pack wise, right?
Yeah,
billions. There's your money. It's low cost, but high volume.
Yeah, but those are just contractors anyway. But then I think the other big problem, though, I think is to take the devil's advocate route. The big problem for me reading about this whole thing was that 90% of what I read were mostly kind of like, not to be mean, but they're a little bit of bitch and whine sessions because it's about people complaining that they can't make a living trying to get into the comic industry. But it's like, if you look at what they're complaining about, 90% of them are complaining that they can't earn a living, but they're going to these indie studios that are not tried and not tested with books that they've never heard of and expecting a living salary. And it's like, that's just not going to happen. Like, and you can't like expect a no-name going to these companies with also being a no-name to be able to make a fortune all of a sudden. And I think what basically a lot of the pros came back and said was, yes, the biggest thing is that this industry is about, you have to love the industry. It's not about putting the effort into it. It's not about the amount of effort you put in is what you get back. You have to love the industry to keep going. The more you love it is like what you said, the more you love it, the more what you do becomes less about a job. So it becomes less about the money. Like, you find other ways. You take another job to make on your comic, whatever. You put it on Kickstarter, but you make sure that that the comic isn't gonna dictate your livelihood. Like, this isn't why, this isn't your weekly food budget.
Yeah.
You have to make it outside of that.
Well, and that's why I said, the people that have been actively ripped off, that is bad,
Yes.
and I feel bad for
Yes.
that. The people that want to make a living and haven't found a way, I'm not sympathetic to that. Of course, I love comics. If that's what you want to make a job, you want to make that a job. That's cool, but like professional sports, like Hollywood, like everything, the vast, 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 vast majority never will. And it's if you can crack that nut, if you can get in there, that's awesome. There was a comment with someone had made where a lot of people were complaining about, let's just say a high profile writer at DC Comics whose name shall remain nameless, that has written many comics that I absolutely adore and love to this very day, and may have bought a Japanese version of his comic book while I was in Japan. This writer was not named, but you don't even have to read between the lines to know exactly who was being talked about in this. And their like salary for a book was the editor, not the editor. It was someone in like production was saying like their salary for this one comic was more than their entire salary for the whole year. And my reply to that was this. And when you are they are getting paid Hollywood money. They are not getting paid comic book money. These are executives doing a writing job where they are already in the pipeline for this product to become to go through the Hollywood pitch. They don't need to send this book out. This is already in the pipeline to happen. So they are being paid Hollywood money to do this comic as a proof of concept. That is why they get paid that sort of money. They're not getting paid comic book money. They're getting paid Hollywood money. And that's why I've said, like, for the people that have gone in, if your first pitched book is a movie that you want to then send to studios, I think people feel that. If you have the pedigree where you're a known person in the comic industry, and again, as much as I hate him, I will give Mark Millar all the credit in the world because he did it the right way. He became a megastar in his industry, in his small industry, and tried to parlay that into Hollywood. And it worked for the most part, right? There's one Mark Millar. He did it.
Yeah.
Jeff Johns did it. Kind of backwards. He came from Hollywood to comics and then back to Hollywood, right?
Yeah. I would also say, though, that
Bendis has done it. Gail Simone has done it.
Yeah, but his salary, I would say, also is, if you want to make, parlay into something like sports analogy, he's the all-star that you're trying to keep. So part of his salary, part of his salary is to make sure he doesn't go somewhere else.
Exactly.
So like you have to build that, like the Joe Schmo off the street doesn't have that reputation necessarily, and that's where like you got to build that. And a lot of this comes down to you have to be really paying attention to the contracts you sign. Like don't be signing contracts because you need the money, or where this is life or death. Like this shouldn't be coming down to that sort of thing.
I mean, there is the problem where companies will prey on the young, and
unfortunately that should never happen. Yeah,
right, and so that's why I mean those people in that situation, I have all the sympathy in the world for, because they got screwed. They got screwed. Whether it's Siegel and Schuster selling Superman for $500, whether it's Alan Moore, right, with Watchmen, that I am. There should have been other ways that these things happened as time went on, right? And sometimes they got fixed, and sometimes they didn't. But that happened to them, right? So it's not like this is a new thing, and the company's going to look out for the company first. And maybe that's just something that you learn as you get older, and you like, I don't want to say, well, that's how the world works, but that's how the world works. And I don't. I don't. This is not going to change. Like nothing's going to change. Like this doesn't change anything. Like I'm not saying it's right, but
yeah. But like you said, it's more.
Is tomorrow every company going to be like, actually, we don't have to pay our execs. We're going to give all the money to creative. That's not happening. So people can make their own company, and then you can give all the money to creative. But then what happens when you have to run the company, and then it's your company, and you're the exec?
It's a lot of work.
You know, it's a lot of work. It's different. It's different than the creative work, but it's
a lot of work.
Yeah, but that's a lot of work. But that's what's going to be needed to make this successful. And I think people kind of have to realize that too, where it's like, yeah, if you want to make it, like you said, we do have to change this industry because obviously the way it's going isn't sustainable. The old way, at least if there's these many complaints, but then you have to be willing to change it.
But I think it is sustainable because I don't think this is any different than it ever has been. I think this is always the way it's been, and it'll be forever. It's the way Hollywood will be. It's the way the music industry will be. Yeah, you'll get certain people that'll be able to break out and do their own thing. Whether they've had, they'll have a certain amount of success within the industry, so they can go off and do their own thing, or they're just that much of a raw talent that they can push the hell out of themselves. And you could be the I don't want to take Leanne's friend and talk about him, I won't say names or anything like that, but Leanne has a friend who's an amazing photographer, and Leanne has said a couple times, she's like, I wish he doesn't promote himself enough. Like he's an amazing artist and photographer, but he just sort of he's okay just doing whatever he does, and it's like this could be his career, but he didn't push that, and a lot of artists don't have that in them to you've got to be the businessman as well. And that's tough. That's real tough for a lot of people.
Some people in Artist Alley have too much of the businessman in them.
Yeah, but I just meant I know that the industry will sustain itself. I'm just saying if these people want to complain, though, I feel like we need to turn these complaints and stop thinking about it negatively and start thinking positively, which is, well, then let's stop thinking about the negative and let's start thinking about how we turn it around. Let's so there are less of these stories. And I know that's hard, and there's no perfect answer.
I don't have,
but that's what I'm saying. That's what we need more.
Right, and I think the answer is you sell more comics or you make comics significantly more expensive. And it all comes back. Those are the two ways. Well, that's the only way this changes. It's more money or more units. Dollars or units. That's the only way anything changes.
Well, I mean, you could slightly change, people move to digital media. We've got people living off of webtoons. No, I'm not saying that this is perfect. I'm just saying, but you come up with alternatives.
And those people are getting fucked just as well. Webtoons sucks ass. Again, the amount of people, if you're the 1% of 1%, if you're Lore Olympus, you're making money. Everyone else is getting fucked by Webtoons. And you're going to hear the exact same thing about that.
But once again, that's because Webtoons controls it, though. I'm saying, there are people who can make successful by doing their own thing. Look at the Knights of the Dinner Table.
Yeah, of course.
If you make your own Webtoon app, then they can't control the money. I'm just saying that there are always alternatives that we need to start investigating that can change things.
Was it Kunst, PvP guy? Wasn't he a fairly successful web?
All the a number of the early webcomic guys were because they had to make their own platform. They had to make their own thing, right? And again, that is a ton of work.
Yes.
You are not just making a comic. You are making a website, an app. You are running the forums. You are running all the stuff that goes with that.
That's
which means
how much money they made early on. I mean, they earned that shit on the back end. But that's
exactly.
In fact, they probably were in the negative for years and years and years and years and years.
They're doing it for free, right? I'm sure they all had day jobs, and this was a fun thing they did, and eventually it turned. But again, you're talking about the 1%, the 1% of the 1% that made it work. And how many webcomics started that didn't go anywhere? 99% of them. That's just how everything works. So. The industry is
able to stick with them too, right? That's
the industry is littered with comic companies that printed 12 comics and went out of business, right? And half if you go back 5 years, I bet half the comic companies in the back half of previews don't exist. And if you go ahead in 5 years, I'm sure half of them won't exist there either. And it'll be someone new, right? So
it's like any industry. Look at the food industry. Yeah, how many restaurants are created and go out of business weekly? In the U.S.,
isn't it something like 70% of restaurants don't last a year, 80% or something like that? Yeah, it's insane. It's crazy tough. Yeah. So I mean, for this to go on quite this long, but I mean, it's a fascinating topic, and I do, like I said, at the end of the day, I do legitimately feel bad for a lot of these people. Some people less, and some people I think they're just, I don't want to say the word complaining. I think there are legitimate problems with this industry and a lot of entertainment industries. There are some people that were clearly using this to sort of, just go out there and be like, oh yeah, it sucks, buy my comic, let's support each other. And it's like, all right, well, no one's going to do that. Everyone's looking out for themselves. But I think there are some people that have gotten really screwed, and I hope some of that does get fixed. And if you feel for these people, pre-order your comics, buy them from shops, buy them from them on Kickstarter, go to conventions. You got to put the money out there. That's the only way this changes.
Mm-hmm.
If you pirate your comics, it doesn't help anything. You may love it, and then your favorite comic gets canceled. You may not think you matter, but literally every dollar helps. Look, whatever. Do whatever you want. I don't care. You pirate all the comics you want. I don't care. But, but the comic you like may not be around if it doesn't sell. If it's Batman, yeah, it's probably going to stick around. Spider-Man, yeah, probably good. That's it. Everything else doesn't matter who it is.
Don't be pirating meanwhile.
Sure, it'll be up there. I'll check all the pirate sites a day after we publish. I'll see if I can find it. I'll go guilt trip everyone in the comment section. Guys, want to talk about Spider-Verse a little bit? No spoilers for Toby.
I mean,
Kevin, you see it?
Yep.
No, stay. No spoilers. Lane, did you watch it?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
That's okay. That's fine.
We'll
No. It's fine.
Then.
It's fine. Yeah. Remind me, Spider-Verse, first movie, among your favorite movies of all time, correct?
Favorite comic book movies.
Comic movies of all time, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. First one? Okay. What did you think of this one?
Liked it a lot. And in fact, the first 10 minutes are probably an A+++++ for me.
Interesting.
If I can't, spoiling the first 10 minutes is not.
Yeah,
it's a Gwen segment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I thought it was amazing. And if you're talking about, look, we're not going to get into the story, right?
Yeah, I mean, Toby, Lane, you know the story, right? The general premise.
I'll just say this, Ryan, and you can go in as much as you want. I'll just say this. Visually, this may be my favorite animated movie ever. Visually. We can argue about what you think of the storyline, but I'm just talking about the artistry on display. This and Pinocchio are my two favorite animated movies I've ever seen.
The Del Zorro one?
No, the Disney. The OG.
Oh no, the original. Yeah. Oh, I thought you meant the new one. Okay,
those are my just
amazing.
Art. I'm just talking art. Those are my two favorite animated movies.
Cool. But the story loses you a
I
little
liked
bit.
it. I liked it a lot. I'm just trying I'm trying to talk about things that we don't have to dance around spoilers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for people that don't remember, I'm sure you can't forget because everyone loves to remember everything I've ever said, especially when they hate me. I liked Spider-Verse. I was a little whatever on the plot, but the visuals were cool, but it made me literally nauseous to watch. It was too and I'm not the only person. Other people have said, "Oh, that's exactly." I felt the same way. I haven't seen anyone else really mention this. The different frame rates that they had in the first one, some of that and some of the stuff with Kingpin, there was like spinny stuff. That I mean, this is a me problem. This isn't a movie problem. This is a me problem. Like some of that maybe literally not. Like it was difficult to watch. I actually kind of like closed my eyes a few times during the movie. So that makes the experience a little bit more difficult. I'm fine with Miles. Like I don't love him or hate him. He's fine. But I really dislike Spider-Gwen just at a base level, but it only really come from the comics, right? So like Spider-Verse, I thought was fine. Like it was okay. Like I liked it, but whatever. It's just sort of whatever for me. So I will say that this movie did not make me nauseous, except for maybe a little. Not nauseous, but it is too, and this was my actual like only real complaint with the movie. It's just too much. It needs like 1,000 milligrams of Prozac. it is, when it slows down, it's good. But that first like 20 minutes, like I thought I was gonna have like a panic attack. It's just too much.
Hold on. Kevin said the first 15 minutes is some of the best that he's ever
Toby,
seen.
About 10. It's about
10?
I don't even know.
It's the same. It's that same segment. The Spider-Gwen stuff plus the bits after that. Like
so half of what Ryan is not standing is Kevin's favorite stuff.
I mean, it's not 0 to 60. It starts at 100 and just fucking goes. And it's like, when it slows down, the animation, you can see the characters and you can understand them. They're speaking words to each other and having a conversation. The earlier scenes, it is moving like, it makes the Flash look like he's standing still. It's moving so fast paced. 3 characters are talking over each other. It's way ADHD. It's so much. It's way too much. It needs to slow down.
I think you're just
significantly.
Old, right? I think you're just
100 again. Sure. Yeah. It's just like your eyes can't focus on anything. It's constantly flicking between image. It's just boom, 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 boom. It never stops. You never get to look at anything. It's just a barrage. And it was just like, if this was a minute, if this was like a fight scene and then 20 minutes of slowdown, I'd be like, that was fucking amazing. But it's 20 minutes of that, and then you get a couple minutes of slowdown. It's just, the movie is just relenting with that, or unrelenting with that. I thought my favorite part was like the last 10 minutes of the movie, because it slows way down and gets way darker, and the first half, especially the first half an hour, it's superhero pose and snappy one-liners and characters talking over each other and goofy comedy, and I'm just like, I can't. This is too much. I'm just getting whiplash. But fortunately, it does slow down as it goes on, and there's really cool stuff, especially in the back half, especially the last 10 minutes. But to me, I am not the person for these movies. It's just not what I want out of an animated movie. It's not what I want out of a superhero movie. Like I said, The Flash is nothing compared to this. There's no scene in The Flash that moves at the speed that this movie moves at, and it's constant through major chunks of the movie. And it feels like my eyes are just getting like hammered over and over and over again. It's, again, if this was like a short, I'd be okay with it. It's just too much. They need to slow it way the fuck down, because you literally can't hear characters talking. They're talking over each other. There's like 3 conversations happening. There's jokes popping constantly. Like, you've never given a moment to breathe.
It's actually funny. You, my friend's kids. That's how you just described all of them. So I'm like,
yeah, they're probably also on Ritalin. So like, I'm sure it's fine. It's their natural state, right? It is. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's a beautiful movie. The animation is
that
gorgeous.
Animation, and because Toby and Lane, if you guys, I don't know how much you've read, but the whole concept is that there's different animation styles for every world they go to.
Yeah.
I'm saying, Ryan,
like
that animation on that Spider-Gwen world is just like, my
nice.
eyeballs are just bathing in ecstasy. It is.
I mean, it looks like the comic. It looks like the covers of the comic. They do a really good job matching up to that. You know, I don't want this in everything. I'm sorry, Toby. I think the new Turtles movie looks like ass.
Dude, it looks so amazing.
I think it
looks so. So excited.
They're trying to do Spider-Verse, and it's sloppy. It's messy. It doesn't.
You're smoking some crack, my friend.
No, it looks horrid.
You're smoking some crack. I'm like beyond. I haven't been this excited for Turtles in like, I don't know, like since Turtles 2 probably.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm not a turtle guy in general, but I think the trailers, the characters in the trailers.
No, I'm.
You could not make a movie less for me than this Turtles
I am
movie.
beyond excited to watch.
But That's great. I mean, I'm happy people like Spider-Gwen. I'm happy people like this stuff. Hard, not for me, but I'm okay with it. Like Spider-Gwen could.
I loved it.
Leanne loved it. She said it's probably her favorite superhero movie of all time, right? And this is the general thing from a lot of people, especially Leanne's an animation and illustration. I mean, she knows people that worked on it. So, I mean, again, from an animation point of view, yes. From old man, white man comic book point of view, I'm like, they changed my things. Like, just not the Spider-Man movie I want. And it's fine. That's cool. Whatever. I'm glad there's stuff for other people. It's great. Like, I don't have to love everything. Like, it's cool. It is visually stunning. The end is great. There is really cool parts to it. It did not make me nauseous like the first one did. So at least they fixed that part of it. But this is not my Spider-Man. I mean, the multiverse thing is not Spider-Man to me. I like, it's weird that this is the character they do this with. I just don't get it. Like, I despise the spider Sona thing that the internet has taken. Like, I hate that. Okay, we'll dismiss that. And that is sort of, this movie is now a reaction to that, which kind of bugs me a little bit. But I don't need Spider.
Ryan, as a fellow old
verse.
white man, I have said many times my dream Spider-Man movie is him, Mary Jane, Jonah Jameson, Manhattan, one villain, maybe two.
Yeah, and we got 7 of those, right? But now we've had 3 multiverse movies, and I'm like, this is the Spider-Man that people want.
And so the irony of me saying the first movie is one of my favorite comic book movies, when it's exactly not the Spider-Man movie I've ever wanted or been interested in. But I've just learned to accept it as like, this is a side property that they're doing, and I've really enjoyed them. 2 movies in so far, I've really enjoyed them.
This is Spider-Man now. That's the problem. The comics, this is Spider-Man now.
Yeah.
That worries me. If this was a side thing, I'd be like, yep, cool, side thing. I can ignore it as much as I want. It's neat, it's interesting, whatever. We have Spider-Man. They could do whatever they want in the peripherals. This is now Spider-Man, and that's my concern.
And
because it's not Spider-Man.
We can, as the old saying goes, sit here and curse the darkness or light a candle. And I choose.
I got my Epic collection.
I choose to light a candle and say, these movies are really cool. They're not what I wanted, but damn, they're really cool. They're giving me something I didn't want, but I'm still enjoying them.
Yeah, I liked this one more for sure than the first one. It might not be what I want, but I did like it. When it slows down, I liked it. When it's Gwen cracking jokes at 1,000 miles an hour, I could not be less interested.
I don't see that at all.
It's the first half of the movie.
I did not see cracking jokes and talking over it.
It's the first half of the movie. They really calm down as it goes. I'm telling you. But I appreciate what it has done, not just for the comic industry, but it's done for the animation industry. Like it's great that people are taking this. I hope this wins Academy Awards. I hope this wins not just for animation, like actually get nominated for an Oscar. It seems to have hit that that sort of balance between the comic people, animation people, and people that are looking at the future of film and new ways of seeing film, and this is it's not going to make the money Avatar is going to make or Top Gun's going to make, but I feel like it is pushed. We went on Sunday 4 weeks after it came out, and the theater was like half full, right? The first 10:30 a.m. show on a Sunday a month out, and the theater is still half full. Like that's staying power that most movies just don't have. So all of that I'm grateful for and appreciative of, and it's if it's good for the comic industry, it's good for wherever. And like I said, I don't care if it's not for me. Like I'm happy that it's as popular and successful as it was. If you're a hardcore Spider-Man guy, I feel bad for you because it's probably not what you want. But in Kevin's case, maybe it is, right? So it's different. It's something interesting. Yeah. Until it was. Yeah. So I don't want people to be like, oh, Rar just hates everything. It's not like that. the first one I had like legitimate health problems watching. But I get that with movies. Like this is like I said, this is not the movie's problem. This is my problem. I thought the first movie's plot was just okay. It was visually interesting, but I was sort of bleh on the plot. This one I think is more interesting. Spider-Man 2099 is great. I didn't ever call him that. Yeah. That kind of bothered me, but he is great. There's really cool stuff in this movie. And some of the fight scenes are neat. I wish they slowed it way down for most of it, because it would have made those fight scenes cooler. But as I'm 2 hours in and I'm watching the 10th scene like that, I'm just like, man, my eyes are just having some trouble with this. So again, more of a me problem than the movie problem. But yeah, it's cool. It's all right. It's Spider-Verse. See where it goes. The next one, don't look for it anytime soon. It's not coming out next year, that's for sure. They said they were hoping for 2024, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be like 2026 or later at this point. It sounds like the animation's not happening. It's not getting done, and they lost a lot of the animators off this movie. So people that burned out. Hey, another industry overworking creators. What a surprise. But you don't hear anyone complaining because they love Spider-Verse. So as long as the product's good, they don't care. They don't care how overworked you are, right? They only care when they don't like the stuff. I'd love to see what you guys think, Toby and Lane.
Yeah,
Lane, you didn't really care for Spider-Verse, right? Lane,
I don't care for Spider-Man. Period.
Yeah.
He's
Toby, I
my
think
least
you'll
favorite
like
characters.
Yeah, I'm just
like
waiting
this.
for my head to be better. But otherwise, I'm really want to see it.
Yeah, I think you'll like it.
Yeah, no, this is one movie where I think there's going to be a lot of flashing, a lot of this. Well, I didn't have a problem at all before, but yeah, right now I'm like, just the state I'm in, I'm like, yeah, I'm not watching this.
Did we talk about you getting hit by a car on the podcast?
I don't think so.
Talk about Toby getting a massive car accident?
I'm still standing. Takes a slightly bigger than a car to get rid of me. So Ryan, you got to try a little harder next time.
Keep trying, man.
Yeah.
Trying to take you out, but one of these days it'll work. Yeah. Toby was on his bike and got hit by a car and got a pretty solid car accident a few weeks back. So, still in recovery mode.
Well,
so yeah, a lot of flashing. Bike versus car. Yeah, a lot of flashing lights in this. If they're concerned about long-term concussion issues,
no,
you would have.
I still have the concussion. They're still like monitoring and all of that stuff. So yeah, I'm not watching anything with flashing lights right now. So
this does feel like a movie that is a thing you want to see on the big screen.
I know. So I hope it's still there. Maybe I feel like movies are leaving the theaters faster than ever.
Very fast,
to a home video or digital faster than ever. But I'm really, really genuinely worried I'm gonna miss it. But yeah,
I would. When it comes back in theaters, when the third movie comes out, when they do the triple feature,
I was going to say they'll probably play it before the third one comes out.
All right, I'm gonna write Sony a sob story going, look, I got hit by a car and went flying 5-7 feet into the air, and therefore I couldn't see the movie. I really, really, this is my dying wish, and I'm dying. No, I'm not dying.
The Toby Make-A-Wish Foundation.
To watch Spider.
Let me call up Dan Slott. I'll get him on it.
Thank you. And if Tessa Thompson could be with me while I watch this, no.
Can't perform miracles, Toby.
All right.
That actually should lead into a brief. Toby, have you made a decision?
On what?
Have you made a decision?
What the hell are you talking
about? Comic-Con.
Well, for now,
are we Toby-less again?
Wait, what?
Is Comic-Con Toby-less once again?
No.
You going?
Well, I have a ticket. I have a hotel with Lane. We're rooming. But the question is if I'm allowed to fly or not.
Okay. So they actually don't want you to fly?
I don't know. Actually, it's Lane that told me this. Wasn't it you, Lane?
No, you told me. But I mean, it is true that people with.
Someone told me there was a flying thing, and I didn't even know about it. I didn't even think about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they say people with concussions shouldn't be flying because I think it's the pressure.
Yeah, I would about this, actually. I
would ask your doctor.
Yeah.
Good to ask your doctor either way.
Yeah, I had no idea about that. So, Or not, it just might be Lane's weird ploy of having me jump in the car with him so to keep him company. So who knows?
Nah, I'm fine. But the problem is, I usually leave a day earlier than you.
Yeah. No, I mean the plan is to go. But yeah, I just don't know. I look.
Okay.
It's still a few weeks away from now. I feel genuinely fine. Occasionally, I get random headaches. I occasionally get dizzy. I occasionally get vertigo. But other than that, I'm fine.
I mean, that's just my normal day. Like,
Yeah, but you have issues. I have other issues. Well, I have other issues, but generally they're not. This kind
Oh
of
wait,
issue.
hey Toby, here's a hint for you. If you still keep that placard, you can get the ADA lines at Comic-Con. Maybe you can get into all your experiences faster.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
The Jurassic Park thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Well, look, I the plan is to be there. Bar random doctor note saying you're a damn idiot for doing this, then maybe I rethink it. But yeah, no, the decision's been made long. That's why I was confused. I'm like, what decision are you talking about? No, I'm in. Although I have to say though, I'm kind of contemplating my decision because I feel like this may be so it's funny, me and Lane are on opposite spectrums on this because I actually have a feeling this might be one of the most boring Comic-Cons of all time.
This actually is news. That I probably is on my feed that I would have mentioned at some point too. No Disney, no Marvel Studios, no Lucas. No Universal, now no DC, as far as I know. DC Comics is there, but no DC Studios. James Gunn's not going to be there.
No, they're going to show the animated stuff.
Blue Beetle.
No, the new animated.
Yeah. No DC Studios, not the movie stuff. There's probably an animated panel, but for whatever they're animated. But that's that's not what we're talking about. Who else? No Netflix, no HBO, and there was one more. There was another big one. Hall H is going to be a ghost town.
Yeah, what worries me more than anything about all of this is how many people are going to be walking around, and I'm like, I need them to be busy. Like I need, I need a Twilight where like half the convention is in a room stuck together. I need that. Like have them congregate in some place. The fact that they're all have nothing to do and be walking around, it scares the living shit out of me, man.
I said this. The dealer's room is going to be packed.
And that's to all my artist friends that run, do Artist Alley, for all the boofers.
Good for them.
Hell yeah, man. I'm like, I'm totally rooting for you. And, I think that's going to be an awesome, awesome year for all of them. I'm just like, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm still somewhat like, want to stay away from the masses. If I can, right? So it's just, I don't know. Like, I worry that, look, a few years ago, I feel like, look, I had a good few years in a row with like, when you came down there a couple of times, when Indicator came down, and, and then the usual like Lane and stuff. Like, I had a few good years again. Like, there was a couple of years before that where, I felt like I was going through the motions. I felt like I was going through this. I was getting that toy. The year after I was getting, going back to that booth, getting that toy. I was getting the one sketch from one guy. Like, I felt I was going through the motions. And at that point, I'm like, why the fuck would I do this? Like, if I'm just going through the motions and, it's nothing special, I'm just kind of like spending a shit ton of money just to get another book at home, just to get another fucking toy. I'm like, that's pointless to me at that point, right? I would like, I should just, go traveling or do some other shit or see some other cons, right? And of course, a couple together with some other bad experiences made me really go, I don't want to do this anymore. Like really strongly, I was like, I'm fucking done with this shit, right? The following year after that, I had one of my best years ever. So I'm back, right? And that's been a few years now, and I had a really, really great time every year. I mean, the only one I missed was the COVID year, right? The 2020, where they had that weird one in the wintertime or something.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only one I actually missed. All the other ones I'm in. Even the one where I wasn't sure I was going to go, I went in the last minute, right? So
was it 2021 they did the winter one? They were skipped out 2020 entirely, right?
21.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2020 they skipped out, but 2021 was the weird winter one, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one I skipped, and then I did the first real one back. I think Ryan, you were at that one, weren't you? That was last year.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah,
Yep,
and that was a great con. I'm like, I fucking had a
Yeah.
ball. Like,
It was fun.
then I think the one before that was with you also, wasn't it? Like,
2019. Yep.
Yeah, and that was a great one too. And I think the one before that was, I think that was the Indicator one, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
that was an awesome.
Toby, that was the one with you, Charlie, and Lane at the Omni in a room together. Yeah.
Yeah.
So was Indicator
That's
year
the one
before
where
that?
2018 is the one where we all drove back in that SUV, rented that SUV.
Oh yeah.
So I think Craig is the year before, 17.
Craig was the year before 17. So 16 was the one where I had a really, really bad experience and go, look, I'm done. Like, I was so mad. I was, and yeah, so it must have been like 14, 15, 16 where I really felt like, I think I'm just going through the motions at this point. Like, where there's like nothing new, nothing was exciting. I was literally going down and just kind of walking around and did literally the same thing I did the previous year. And the previous year before that. And I was just like, yeah, this is not for me anymore. But like, I feel like the last, so like, what was that, 2018 up? Were all fantastic years. So I've been having I had been having a great run for the last 5 years or so now. Yeah. I mean, minus the whole COVID thing.
Yeah, I'll be off this year, so next year definitely love to come back.
Oh, it really is going to suck then, because actually Ryan makes for a good con buddy, I realized. I talk a lot of shit about the Ryan, but whenever Ryan does a con with me, I think we have a great old time. I mean, even when this one was a great old time.
See, I'm very chill at cons because I'll sometimes have a few things I want to do, but I'm pretty easygoing at cons. I like walking around. I like just kind of hanging out, seeing what's there. You know, I have a pretty low. Unless I have something I have to do, like a retailer meeting or something like that, I'm generally like, what's around, do whatever. I don't because I don't do the toys. I don't really care about. I'm not buying comics, not like back issues. I'm not looking for incentive covers or
you
promos.
know why I enjoy Ryan at fucking cons? He's not on fucking Twitter every minute. When we're at the store,
I am. You probably just don't see me.
Yeah, but dude, when we're at cons, we're walking around, we have conversations. When I'm at the store, half the time you're not listening. You're fucking responding to people on Twitter.
Well, that's just because I'm at the store. I'm not listening to anyone.
Toby, the way Ryan could improve as a con buddy, as a roommate especially, is learning to enjoy sleeping with the drapes open.
Oh no. Definitely not.
Well, how do you wake up in the morning if you don't have the drapes open?
I wake up at 7 a.m. like a normal human.
No.
My body just
wakes up when the sun comes up.
Yeah, I wake up when the sun comes up, and I don't have to have the blinds open to know that. My body just goes, you went to bed at a reasonable hour. You have slept a reasonable amount of time. Time to wake up.
No, Superman, man. Like, you deplete yourself completely, and then you need the sun so you can absorb all its power, and then you back up.
You've weakened yourself with the red sun through the day and night, and now
man,
you're
you like go all the way till you're fucking dead. And then the sun shines in your face. You go, I'm alive.
Is this the idea that like you should wear batteries out to 0 before recharging them to get the full life out of it?
Every ounce of power.
Okay.
Wait, no.
Yeah.
Wait, that's not what you guys do?
Definitely not. My top is 50% charged, so yeah, that's my most
you
charged.
See the shit I do at 6% and 3%, man. Dude, you gotta live a little, man. That's where it's fun, where you don't know if it's gonna work or not. That 3% shit just might die.
Yeah, you pass out in the. I fully expect to one day be at a con and just see Toby passed out in the middle of the road, half crossed road, and 3:00 in the morning. He finally just battery runs out, and he just like a doll just falls to the ground, just lays there in a puddle.
I give you the Terminator thumbs up, though. That'll be the last thing I'll show you.
All right, this is a wonderful podcast.
Wait, so we're not doing Flash. This is why I joined today.
Return to whatever form is Flash.
Yeah.
We talked about Flash.
We talked about it the way we talked about Spider-Verse right now.
You could, yeah. I haven't gone back to see it. I'm probably gonna try to see it this week if it's still in theaters.
I just rewatched it. I rewatched it like a couple days ago.
Flash didn't do great. Let's save it till next week. Yeah, let me. I'm gonna try to get to the theater and see it. Yeah,
let's do that.
Let's do it next week. Yeah. The plan was to see it in Japan, but we ended up seeing that Sailor Moon movie instead. So
was it dubbed in Japanese in Japan?
No, I mean it was all Japanese. Yeah, it wasn't dubbed in Japanese. It was Japanese. No subtitles.
If you were to watch The Flash, do you know what language it would have been in?
So, select theaters had both. I believe it was some were dubbed and some were subbed.
Okay, now my curiosity is, if you were to go and see Flash in Japan, would you have chosen to watch it in English, or would you have gone all the way and watched it in dubbed Japanese?
No, I would have watched it in English, with the subtitles, because I want to actually. I mean, I still understand it.
Watch it full Japanese.
Well, that's what we did with Sailor Moon. It was fully in Japanese. That's what we did. So, yeah. Yes. We're back. Thank you all very much. We'll be back next week or 2 or something. Whatever we're doing.
Way to commit.
I'll figure it out. Man, not doing podcasts for like 5 weeks was great. Thank you to all our high-tier Patreon backers. Low down with Luke and Derek.
Backers. We were so happy not to be here, but thank you.
Spotify and YouTube, thank you all very much for continuing to support us while we were on hiatus, but we are back. Thank you also to Joe Duff, Kelsey May, Craig Anderson, the Executive Evolution podcast now, Jimmy Rivera at the Social Forum podcast, Talon Bray, and everyone else that backs us at patreon.com/Comic Conspiracy. You can go to comicconspiracypodcast.com and Apple Podcasts to I'll listen to previous episodes, catch up on back ones if you haven't listened to them yet. Comicsconspiracy.biz is where you can buy physical comics from us for mail order or pickup. Conspirator Brock's blog where he does his stuff. Again, big thanks to Brock and Marshall and Alexi for filling in, and Kevin for filling in while, not this Kevin, other Kevin, filling in while I was on vacation. Much appreciated. Brock is on 4th of July break with his family, but he should be back next week. Charlie has the Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast talking all about Doctor Who. Please give that a listen. Kevin's weekly interview series called Between the Panels at fanbasepress.com is going on. And Kevin, you got more going on. I tell the good folks.
Yes, since we wrapped up Meanwhile, I felt like I didn't have enough commitments and stressful things in my life, and I felt I needed to fill that hole. So there is a series now. You can find it. I don't know how to... Sorry, Ryan, I wasn't prepped for this. It's on YouTube. The channel is called Comic Art Live. So you'd have to go...
And Comic Art Live's a big channel.
You'd have to go to it through that channel. Anyway, it's a short interview segment, and most of them run like between 5 and 10 minutes. So they're just YouTube shorts. And it's me interviewing a single creator about one of their favorite pages of comic art by someone else. And so basically we just talk about a single page of art for a few minutes, and you get to hear from people who do it for a living, what they appreciate about other people who do it for a living.
And this is an ongoing thing, right? Yeah. This is a new is it weekly?
They've been weekly so far. They're going to be weekly through the summer and then probably bi-weekly after that. But it's called A Page I Love. And there are 4 episodes up so far and new ones coming every week for this summer.
Who's been on so far?
Dan Jurgens.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Dan Jurgens, Nick Patera, Dan DiDio, and Doc Shaner are the first 4.
Nice. That's a list. That's a good list.
Yeah. So we've got like a dozen more finished and banked, and then I've got like 10 more people who have RSVP'd who I'm going to be recording over the next few weeks.
Awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Leanne, my wife, her Etsy store is still up, etsy.com/shop/Leanne Hill Art. You can find her art there, as well as leannehill.com. Now, Twitter, once again. I mean, technically we're still on there. I don't know what Twitter is going to be like tomorrow morning, let alone next week.
Wait, what happened? I actually don't know.
Twitter has decided, Elon Musk has decided that people just shouldn't use Twitter anymore. So if you don't have an account, you can't see tweets. They've severely limited the number of tweets in which non-paid accounts can see in a day. So by 12 o'clock today, I was locked out of the site.
Really?
Yeah. You can't.
Shit! I can hang out at the store again and have real conversation with them. Sweet. This is all. This is the best news all day, man. Holy shit!
That's why everyone has moved over to Blue Sky,
No!
the new Twitter, and comics Twitter and video game Twitter have gone hard in the last few days to Blue Sky. So if you want to follow me at Blue Sky, I think it's just Ryan.Higgins, right? I mean, because they have their Blue Sky. Their names are set up a little bit different. So it's RyanHiggins.bsky.social. bsky.social is just like the main Blue Sky thing. If you look up Ryan Higgins, look up my name if you're on there. I mean, it's invite only at this point.
Stick though, like how do we go through? Was it the Beehive? Did you do the Beehive?
Well, Hive could not have fucked themselves harder than anyone has fucked themselves in the history of tech companies. At what should have been their moment, they turned their site off for like a month. So
yeah.
What? Yeah. And look. Blue Sky is a group of tech people, and Jack Dorsey's he's involved in like some part of the board, but it's all open. Not open source, but people on GitHub are working on updates for it, and it's
how about is it better than the elephant one? Wasn't there an elephant one too?
Mastodon?
Yeah.
Mastodon, was just, I mean, again, interesting for the people that want to use it. It existed well before this, but Mastodon it's just not a Twitter replacement. This really is like a Twitter replacement. Seems like it has other functionality coming down the road. So Blue Sky does seem to be like the place where people are going.
So third time's the charm?
We'll see. Servers were a little buggy this weekend when literally millions of people were trying to activate accounts, but it seems like it's clicking in a way that none of the other ones have. We'll see what Twitter's. I mean, when I looked at Twitter this morning, it was no people. It was brands, sponsored posts, paid accounts. The people are on Blue Sky, and the people are what drive these things. So, can
you imagine you own Twitter? Your entire pitch to advertisers is, look how many hours our average user spends on here. And your solution to that is limiting the number of hours that a user spends. Like, for somebody so rich, he seems like a terrible businessman in every respect.
Well, if your goal is to destroy your own company, he's doing a wonderful job. Just a wonderful job.
So, but why pay that money for?
You don't have to spend. Yeah, you don't have to spend $44 billion to do that. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand. I thought this was like a one day, like, okay, we're gonna do this to because they said, AI bots are scraping public Twitter feeds. We need to reduce that. And I get that. If there's real stuff going on like that, this is not the way to do it. There's other ways to do it. Not limit your active users, your real users. But no, I mean, I guess he's tried to kill Twitter for so long and we just wouldn't leave. So I guess he's like, we have to actually prevent people from using the site, and they'll finally leave, and I can close it.
I'm going to call the cops on my own party.
Yeah, I think he's doing exactly what he's trying to do, and that is completely destroy Twitter. Which, congratulations, if this is your job, you've done it. So good.
It looks just like Twitter. I was just looking at it on the App Store. Holy hell.
Blue Sky, yeah. No, and some of these other ones have tried to be like, we're Twitter, but this is like, no, we're just Twitter. So they're gonna, Blue Sky had been in the works for a little while, and it seems like it's
I don't
really
like that. It has to be BSKY.social at the back. That's kind of weird.
I believe the idea here is that multiple servers can be set up by different third-party things, but it still all communicates with each other. So if you want a local server, you can still have that, but still be part of the more global network. I believe that's sort of the intent. Okay. I mean, that's kind of what Mastodon does, but Mastodon makes it impossible to follow random stuff. This I believe that's sort of the intent for this. So we'll see what ends up happening.
All right, Higgins, I'm fucking downloading it. This third time better be the charm of fucking social. I've signed up for more social media fucking things since I met the Higgins for post Twitter shit, man.
Well,
I
believe Thursday is when I get my new invite code, so I'll send you one.
I can't even just sign up.
Nope. It's been invite only for months.
What is this create new account though?
It's probably going to have you set up a code.
Invite.
It's probably going to have a code that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Code. Yeah.
I'll send you a code when I go.
Cool. It's very Asian looking.
I mean, it's pretty bare bones now. They're just they're getting.
I like the app icon, the sky thing is very.
Yeah. But I'm on there, Ryan Higgins. But we're also on Twitter, Ryan Higgins, Ryan Brock Sager, Toby XI, Insanity and Chaos is Charlie, that Kevin Sharp is Kevin, and Comics Con Store. If you're not rate limited, follow us and read our tweets. And so I'll be rate limited, within like the first hour of me using Twitter every day. So don't expect too many posts past like 9 o'clock in the morning, because apparently I'm all out of tweets. I ran out of my tweets. I read too many tweets. Heaven forbid.
I was so close to having a normal Ryan at the store again, but fucking Blue Sky had to happen.
Check out Geekbox. Talk more about if you want to hear more about my wonderful Japanese trip and how I almost gave Brock the keys to the store and never came back. You can listen to that over at Geekbox. And a friend of Manga Machinations.
I've never forgiven you for that one, Ryan.
And our friends at Manga Machinations, but they talk about this manga stuff. I don't know. I guess it's popular. I don't know anything about it. But yeah, manga's pretty cool. All right. Thank you all very much. We will catch you